Good evening, students. Welcome to our evening classes on a very important subject of GST. And in this subject, the topic that we are going to deal with today, it is called as the Atma of GST. In fact, at the time of introduction of GST, this is the topic or this is the concept which was being laid lot of thrust by the government, and it was considered to be the game changer concept of GST, very different from the previous tax laws. It's not that the previous tax laws did not have this concept. This concept was there even in the previous tax laws. However, in GST, the scope, the expanse of this particular concept was increased multifold, and it was supposed to reduce the cost and eventually the price and ultimately the inflation resulting out of prices. This is the topic of input tax credit. So today we'll be dealing with this topic, and we will try to understand all the various aspects, the technical aspects, the litigative aspects, the practical aspects surrounding this particular concept of input tax credit. So, yes, very good evening, everyone. Good evening, Minakshi, Dhanlakshmi, Surinder, Purav, Sridhar, Reagan. Yes, Sridhar. Happy Gudi Padwa, happy Ugadi, happy Chetichan, and happy Chaitra Navratri, and happy Hindu New Year to all of you all. So let us start our today's deliberation. Yes, Kashish. Good evening, beta. Yes. Same here, Surinder. Nice to see you all again. It is pleasure always connecting to you all, engaging your lectures. So next 10-15 minutes are going to be slightly technical. So I want your 100% focus and undivided attention to what I'm going to explain. Because many times when we talk about input tax credit and we start with the provisions, it is more of theoretically understood. But I want you all to understand it by the code. What exactly is this input tax credit? So for this, I'll be taking example that let us say the manufacturer is in Tamil Nadu, wholesaler is, let us say, in Maharashtra. I'm not naming the cities for the time being. Retailer is in let us say Delhi. Now, what exactly is this input tax credit? So whenever you are doing business, in your business you have purchases. In purchases, if you are a manufacturer, you purchase raw material, packing material, or the consumables, the inputs, and all these things are then processed to make your final product. If you are a trader like a wholesaler, retailer, you incur expenses for running your business. You incur all expenses, which includes managing the business, storing the goods, handling the goods, etc. So let me call all these expenses over here as value addition. Now, normally, when we look at it from the costing point of view, in purchases, when you add all these expenses, you get total cost. In total cost, when you add profit, you get sales. Value addition covers your expenses plus your profit. So when we say value addition, it is expenses plus profit. So in short, the total of this will be your sales value. Now, I will start with sales value of Tamil Nadu manufacturer. Let us say it is 100 and the GST rate. Now it is for simplicity. I am taking 10% for ease of computation, though there is no such rate. We all know the GST rates are 5, 18 and 40. But just for sake of simple understanding, I am taking it as 18 to avoid any calculation hassles. Now when this Tamil Nadu manufacturer is selling to the Maharashtra wholesaler, since it is an interstate supply, as you will now understand, IGST is charged at the rate of 10%, so it comes to rupees 10. So the bill amount is 110, correct? Which includes 10 rupees as IGST. Now I make one more working. Tax payable to government. Output tax minus input tax credit. Correct? This is tax payable. Now, what is the output tax of Tamil Nadu manufacturer? It is rupees 10. For the time being, I have not shown you the input side, so let us keep it blank. So let us say the tax which this person will be paying to the government is rupees 10, because for the time being, I'm ignoring the input side of this. Now, when these goods will come to the wholesaler of Maharashtra, he has purchased the goods for 110, but his cost is not 110. His cost is only rupees 100. Why? Because the 10 rupees which is included in his bill amount is his input tax, which he will be able to adjust, set off later. So this 10 rupees which he has paid to his supplier, who is a supplier of this Maharashtra wholesaler, it is the Tamil Nadu manufacturer. So when Maharashtra wholesaler has paid this 10 rupees as GST, this GST is his input tax. And this input tax, if it is allowed to be subtracted from the output tax, we say that this input tax is your credit. Credit, you can, in other words, just keep in mind as benefit. Though exactly input tax credit is not named only to mean benefit, it is one of the meanings. Why it is called as input tax credit, I'll explain later towards the end of this chapter. But for the time being, you can remember, because we credit all the benefits. So for the time being, input tax benefit, just you can keep in mind like this. Now, what is the benefit that you'll understand? So let us say the wholesaler who has procured the goods for 100 makes his value addition of 150, which includes all his expenses and profit margin. So his selling price will be rupees 250. Now, on this 250, at the rate of 10%, what would be his tax liability? His tax liability will be 25. So his output tax is 25, but he is not required to pay the entire 25 to the government. Why? Because he has a benefit with him of 10. This is what is the tax which is charged by his supplier. In other words, it is the tax which Maharashtra dealer has paid on his inward side, on his input side. So see, purchases are your inward, purchases are your input to the business. So whatever he has paid on his inward side, input side, that is the benefit of this Maharashtra wholesale dealer. This benefit, why we are calling it as benefit? Because it will go to reduce your liability, and anything that reduces your liability is your benefit. So effectively, he has to pay only 15 rupees. This 275, he will be collecting from his customer. His customer is the Delhi retailer. So he's charging 275 in the bill. He's collecting 275, but whatever 25 he is collecting under the name of IGST, he is not paying it to the government. Please remember this. He is not paying this tax to the government. He will be paying only 15 rupees to the government, because at the time of his purchase, at the time of his input, he had paid 10 rupees to his supplier here, which becomes his input tax credit as per this chapter's provision, which we are going to study. And since he is able to get the benefit, what is the benefit? To that extent, he is not required to pay his output tax. To that extent, his output tax is reduced, his output tax is saved. That is why this is his input tax benefit or input tax credit. Now again, on similar lines, the cost for the Delhi retailer is 250 and not 275, because again this 25 is his benefit. Let us say he adds his profit margin of rupees 250. So now he is selling for 500, on which output tax is 50. So his final sale price is 550. Now he is not required to pay this entire 50 rupees output tax, because whatever he paid at the time of his purchase, this input tax is benefit given to him, and that he can subtract from his output tax liability. So he will be paying only the difference to the government. This whole calculation shows what in essence is input tax credit. So for the time being, let us call it as input tax benefit. What is input tax? Whenever you are doing business, in your business, you have an input side and an output side. Input side is whatever is coming into your business. Now there are three type of things coming to your business. One is you may be purchasing assets, which we call as capital goods. Then you may be purchasing those goods which are not your assets, which are your daily use items. It may be your raw material, it may be your packing material, or if you are a trader, it may be the stock in which you are going to trade. So we call them as inputs. And while doing business, you have to avail many services like insurance service, banking service. If your property is on rent where you are doing business, rental service, then advocate service, chartered accountant service. So many things are on your inward side, which is services. We call them as input services. Now, when you procure all these things, together all of these things, let us call it as input for simplicity. So it includes your assets, it includes your other goods which are not assets, and it includes all your inward services. And consuming this, using this, you are running your business, and from your business, you are having some output. Your output may be goods, your output may be services, your output may be more than one goods, two, three different goods, two, three different services, or few goods, few services. That may be a combination, or it may be something like a composite or a mixed supply of good service, both, whatever. This is the output of your business. So it may be one item of goods, one item of service, or multiple item of goods and service, or combination of goods and service, or composite or mixed supply of goods service. Whatever, on this output, whatever is the outward tax, that outward tax is not required to be paid in full, because whatever tax you have paid on your inward side on all these items, that tax can be set off. Now we all know this word. In income tax also you use this word. Setting off in simply means subtract, or in another words means adjust, but more simple word is subtract. So you can set off whatever taxes you have paid on any of these items which are on your input side while paying the tax on your output. So this is your output tax, which is your liability. You are responsible to pay this tax to the government. While paying this tax, you can set off, you can subtract, you can adjust whatever taxes you had paid on the input side. Now, in your books of accounts, whenever you are purchasing any of these things, let us say today I'm purchasing goods. I'm a trader, I'm purchasing goods. Now let us say the value of goods is 1 lakh on which GST is 18%. Correct? So how much you are paying to your supplier? You are paying 1,18,000 to your supplier. What will be the journal entry passed? You will pass the journal entry as purchases 1 lakh 18,000, which is the GST. Now, if it is IGST, you will call it as IGST input tax credit 18,000. And you'll write to Messrs ABC. Similarly, let us say you have purchased some machinery, which is a capital goods, which you have purchased for rupees 5 crores. Correct? On this, you have GST. Again, let us say at the 18 rate of 18%, which will come to 90 lakhs. Now here it is CGST, SGST half off because the supplier has charged you CGST and SGST, let us say, of your own state, which is Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu SGST. So 45 lakhs, 45 lakhs. And again, it will be called as ITC, ITC. And again, to whoever is the supplier. So Messrs XYZ, 5 crore 90 lakhs. Now, what this or these entries are doing, they are creating in your books ledger of input tax credit, and this has to be created tax wise. So you have IGST, ITC ledger, you have CGST, ITC ledger, you have your states, Tamil Nadu, let us say is your state, SGST, ITC ledger. So these are your ITC ledgers where the amount of input tax credit which you get on every purchase, that is shown here. So the journal entry is to ABC. How much? 18,000. Here it is to XYZ. How much? 45 lakhs. Right? So on every inward purchase, you will have this entry pass. Let me take example of services also. So you have taken consultancy services from a CA firm. So let us say you have taken consultancy services from me. So debit is professional service, or chalo, I'll name it. Normally, what is debited in your P&L? I'll take one example, audit fees, rupees 10 lakhs, on which again the person, since he or she is from another state, has charged IGST, and to Messrs. Vishal and Co. 1 lakh or 11 lakhs 80,000. Again, because of this entry, again, what is here? Vishal and Co. How much? 80,000. 1 lakh 80,000. So this is how every month, or rather every day, whenever you make inward purchase, you keep on getting this GST paid to your supplier as a benefit in your books. It is getting debited on in the respective accounts of input tax credit. Now let us say you are making sales. Sales to whom? To your customer. Who is your customer? So let us say your customer is PQR. What is the sales that you have made to your customer? It is of 1 crore. Correct? 1 second. Now again, the GST on this sales is 18%. So it is 18 lakhs. So 1 crore 18 lakhs is debited to the supplier. And then you have two sales, which is 1 crore, and then two taxes. Now, let us say if you have made sale within the state, it will be half of CNS. If you have made sales outside the state, it will be, so let us say you have made sales outside the state. Now, this is your outward GST, which is your liability. So here, liability is created. So IGST, just for your reference, I am writing liability, or you can write output tax by PQR. How much? 80,000. Sorry. 18 lakhs it is, not 80,000. So it is. Now, this month, when you have to file your GST returns, at that time you have to pay the GST liability. Now, what is your GST liability? This is your GST liability. This is your IGST liability during the month. Now, what you will do is, you will do this calculation, what I have shown here. You will not pay this entire 18 lakh. You will subtract whatever input tax credit you are having during that month. I'm assuming there is no opening balance in these accounts. So this is the first month of your operations, and this is what has happened in the first month. Now, in this particular case, you will be passing the entry for setting off this GST. So this IGST 18 lakhs is your liability. 2. IGST ITC. You have already some ITC here. How much? 198. 1,98,000 you have, that you have consumed, that you have adjusted, and the balance, whatever you have to pay, because you have to pay 18 lakhs. So balance you can use both this ITC. So to CGST ITC to Tamil Nadu SGST ITC. Now, how much more I require? I require more, 16 lakhs 2,000. Now, it is my choice how I want to use this 16 lakhs 2,000, because I have 45 lakhs balance here. I have sufficient balance. I can use entire 16 lakhs of this, or I can use entire 16 lakhs of this, or I can divide between the two. So let us say I am dividing. How I am dividing? So I need 16 lakhs. So let us say I take 8 lakhs from here, 8 lakhs 2,000 from here. Now what will happen after this? So by IGST, how much I have used? Entire 198. So this account is closed. I have zero balance in my IGST ITC. How much I have used from here? 8 lakhs by IGST. By IGST. How much I have used from here? 8 lakhs 2,000. So here I will be having balance carried down. 45 minus 8, 37. It will be carried forward to be utilized in the next month. Again here, balance carried down. So how much it is? 36 lakhs 98,000. So if I have extra credit, it will be carried forward. If by chance the credit is less and my output liability is more, let us say I would have had only less credit. This credit I'm not having, let us say for the timing, just for example, then you were required to pay it from your bank account. So I would be paying it through my from my bank account. How I'm paying, there is a process that we'll study later, but I'm just giving you the broad. So this is the whole process of input tax credit in GST. So basically, what is input tax credit? Let us understand it. The first point is whatever inward you get while doing business, which may be capital goods, which may be raw material, packing material, or regular trading item goods, or which may be services. All these becomes the input of your business. Whatever GST you pay on the input of your business, which may be any of these three things, that GST is called as input tax. Now, it is not that every input tax will be input tax credit. I repeat, so you may have paid input tax on something, but that may not necessarily be your input tax credit. Example, we commonly, while doing business, use some tea coffee from some tea coffee shop, which is near to our business premises. So you have purchased or you take tea coffee on a regular basis, right? It may be a restaurant, it may be a small tea coffee stall, and that person has given you a bill of rupees 10,000 with GST, which is 5%. So it is CGST 2.5, SGST 2.5. Now, this tea and coffee, since this particular item is not eligible for input tax credit, so here I cannot write CGST input tax credit and SGST input tax credit as I have written here. See, this I have written here as credit. Why? Because it is eligible, but this item's credit is not eligible. So even though I would have paid this person 10,500, but here since I'm not eligible to get credit of this, hence this input tax will not be called as my input tax credit because it is not eligible. In fact, it will become my cost. So for me, the cost of tea and coffee is 10,500, which also includes the GST on it. Why? Because the GST, that is the input tax credit benefit, is not available on this. That is why I just said here, it is not that every input tax that you have paid will be input tax credit. Why? Because in order that an input tax, that is a tax which you are paying on the input side, becomes input tax credit, you have to satisfy some conditions. You have to overcome some restrictions. Only when you are able to satisfy the conditions and overcome the restrictions, only then the tax paid on your input side will be called as input tax credit, and it will be shown here in your books as input tax credit, which you will be able to adjust or set off later from your output tax. But if the conditions are not satisfied, or if there is some restriction, like there is a restriction on this, so even though you have paid 2.5 GST on this, but since there is a restriction that you cannot get the input tax rate of few items in which this tea coffee is covered, hence you will not show the GST paid on this as your input tax rate. In that case, it becomes part of your cost. So this is what we have to understand in this whole chapter. Key input tax is simple. Whatever you have paid on your input side is your input tax. But whether that input tax is eligible as input tax credit, that depends upon some conditions and some restrictions. Only when you satisfy the conditions and you cross the restrictions, then only the input tax will become your input tax credit, like this, or like this, or like this. But if it is not satisfied the conditions, or if you are getting stuck in the restrictions, then it will not be a whether input tax is allowed as credit. Credit means benefit for the time being. And if the answer to this is yes, then the step 2 is utilization of input tax, which is now your credit, now your benefit, for paying your output tax liability. So first step is checking if input tax credit is allowed. That is, whatever input tax you have paid, can you take the credit? Can you take the benefit? And this is subject to satisfying the conditions and restrictions. When you satisfy this, then only your input tax is allowed as input tax credit. That is, it becomes your benefit. And once it is your benefit, you can utilize this benefit for making payment of your output tax liability. This is the whole chapter. In this whole chapter, our major thrust is on this. First, to study what are the conditions, what are the restrictions, when, how you can get the benefit of input tax, when you will not get the benefit of input tax. And once you are getting the benefit, then the next thing that you study in this chapter is utilization. Utilization means how this credit can be adjusted from your output tax. Again, there are some conditions, some restriction in adjustment also. But the major condition is firstly in getting the input tax credit. This step of checking whether this input tax rate is allowed or not is called as availment. So you check whether the conditions, restrictions are satisfied. If satisfied, you get the input tax as your benefit. So you call it as input tax credit. This step is called as availment of input tax credit. Availment means taking the input tax as your credit, showing it as your credit. This is availment. In short, passing this journal entry, creating the credit in your books. This is availing the credit. And this is not availing the credit because it is not allowed as credit. So you don't take it as credit, you don't avail it as credit. And this is the utilization. This happens once in a month when you pay the tax, you utilize whatever input tax rate you have that you utilize from your output tax. So this is the next step, which is utilization. Right, students? So this is all basics from my side. Now I keep the forum open for your queries. So yes, very good evening, Satish, Fatima, Ankita, Maithili. Yes, now I keep the forum open for your queries. You can ask me your questions. You can unmute yourself. Very good question. Pawan is asking, can I freely adjust the ITC against my output tax? So he's asking question on step 2. That is, can I adjust my input tax rate against any output tax? The answer is no. There are some conditions over there. There is a sequence how you have to use the credit in which, because see, you have broadly 3 types of credits. What are the 3 types of credit? Credit of IGST, credit of CGST, credit of SGST. Because you may be purchasing certain things within your state. On that you pay half CGST, half SGST. So you get 2 credits, half of CGST, half of SGST. And if you purchase something interstate, you get the total amount of GST under the name IGST. So you have 3 accounts. Actually, there are more. It will be for cess also and all. For the time being, I'm not getting into that. But broadly, 3 accounts you'll have. One is for IGST input tax credit, CGST input tax credit, SGST input tax credit. Now, when you have availed this, that is when you have created this account and you have passed the journal entry of taking the credit, this is called as the first step, that is availment. Then at the end of the month, when you do this calculation, you know your output tax and now you adjust the output tax from your input tax credit. This is what is step 2, which is called as utilization or set off or adjustment of ITC. Now this utilization or adjustment or set off of input tax credit is against your output tax liability. That is, for paying the output tax liability, you can use the input tax credit. You can subtract the input tax credit from your output tax. So it is like this. This is my output tax. I'm subtracting my input tax. If this is sufficient, no problem. If this is not sufficient, the balance I will have to pay. Now, there is a sequence how I have to utilize this. There are restrictions, conditions, which credit cannot be utilized against what. So this is the important subject of GST. Against any output power. Yes, students.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Maithili.
Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, brother. Tell me.
Sir, may I tell my understanding, sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, for example, I have a GST liability of 50,000. Uh,
Hmm.
in this, I have to pay that output tax. Uh, First, I need to pay, or then no, no. That 50,000 will be after adjusting this input tax credit. After that, will be only we need to pay. Correct, sir? Or
Correct.
not?
So after adjusting, let us say your output liability is 50,000 and your total input tax rate of all these three together is 45,000. After adjusting that, the balance 5,000 you'll have to pay from your pocket. This is this amount in my
Okay.
original example. This is this amount that you have to pay from your pocket.
Yes. And one more doubt, if we are purchasing some product from the supplier, in that time only we need to or we are paying the whole amount including GST. But when we are filing the GST, that only that time we take the input tax credit. So already we are paying the GST to the supplier, and again we take back the input tax credit. Then the balance will be need to pay from our package, sir. Or
See, whatever tax you have paid to your supplier, that tax is what is your input tax, correct?
yes, sir.
Now, when you sell goods to your customer, like this person is selling at rupees 250, he is adding the output tax in that and he is collecting that output tax from his customer. So whatever is your output GST, you are adding in your bill and you are collecting it from your customer. So your customer is paying you the output GST, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
From that, this whatever you have subtracted is the GST which you have paid to your supplier at the time of purchase.
Yes, sir.
So that much money you keep in your pocket because this you have already paid to your supplier, and the balance amount, that is this amount, you pay to
Yes,
your to the government. Correct?
yes, sir. After paying, we will return back that money through ITC. Then that if any balance amount is there, we need to pay. That's concept I not understood, sir.
But what you did not understand, see, I have shown the simple working here. Now I have to pay, let us say I am this person, wholesaler in Maharashtra. My sales value is 250 on which GST is 25. So I have to pay 25 as my GST.
Yes, sir.
So this is my liability of GST which I have to pay.
Yes, sir.
From that, I will subtract this amount, means this much amount I need not pay because this I had already paid at the time of purchase from my supplier. So I've already
Yes.
paid this amount to my supplier, which is my input tax rate. So this I'm subtracting because this much I now don't have to pay to the government. I have to pay only the balance to the government.
Okay, sir. I think I'm confused of filing and payable
But a
payment.
filing is what? Filing is whatever calculation, like this is my calculation. This calculation I will write in a proper format and submit it to the department. So in short, I am informing the department ki see in this month, this is my purchase, this is my sales, this is my output tax, this is my input tax rate, this is the difference, this is I am paying to you. So whatever calculations you have done, you have to inform the calculation to the department. It is like solving your exam paper. So when a question is given to you and you solve and you find out, okay, this is the income, this is the tax, you write it and you give it to the examiner who will check whether you have done it correctly or not. So submitting your exam paper is like filing the income tax return, filing the GST return. And while doing that, whatever is the difference which you are showing that, okay, this much I have to pay, that you have to deposit in the bank account of the government. So one, you have to submit the calculation which is called as returns. to the department, income tax department, GST department, to whatever is the tax which you are showing in your calculation as tax payable, that you have to go and pay to the government treasury, that is the government bank account. So there are two things, but both things have to be done at the same time. That is, when you are filing this return, the law requires you to first pay the tax to the government, so that while filing the returns, you cannot show this that, okay, this is still tax payable. You have to say that this was payable and this is how I have paid. On this date, I have paid this to the government using this bank account. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir. But
What, what is your doubt in filing and this? I think
yes,
there is
sir.
some confusion with you in
If a
filing and
if for example one invoice having total amount of 50,000, so in that 50,000 we paid already, total full amount 50,000 we paid already. Then we are
one
filing that
second. This is
50
your purchase invoice or sale invoice? You said 50,000
purchase
invoice, purchase invoice, sale invoice.
purchase invoice.
So you have purchased something of 50,000. On that, let us say GST is 5,000. So you have paid to the supplier 55,000, correct?
Okay. Ah, yes, sir.
So this 5,000 which you have paid to the supplier, you call that amount as input tax credit. You show it in this account in your books. Here in this account, you show it as input tax credit. That, okay, I have paid 5,000 against this bill. So similarly, for
Yes, sir.
all your purchase bills, whatever amount you are paying to your supplier as GST, you show it here in the respective GST ITC account. That during the month I have paid so much to these suppliers of IGST, of CGST, of CGST. So all these amount that you have paid to your suppliers at the time of purchase becomes your total input tax credit balance of that month.
Okay, sir.
So you are paying to your supplier. So whatever you are paying to the supplier, see, this is the journal entry. That is why I showed the journal entry. So you made purchases of this much amount on this much amount is GST. So this amount you paid to your supplier. This you will
Yes, sir.
debit to the purchase account, which will go to your trading P&L. In trading P&L, this amount will be debited. And this amount will be debited to the respective account called as GST input tax credit account, which is this account.
Yes, sir. This all I'm understood, but that 55,000, that 5,000 GST we will already paid. Then that from that 5,000 we take back ITC only 3,000.
One
So
second, Vida. What is taking back ITC? This is where I think there is a difference. You said I take back ITC. What is taking back ITC? There is no taking back ITC. This entire amount is your ITC. Maithili,
okay,
this entire amount, whatever you have paid, in your example, it is 5,000. My example, it is 18,000. This is your ITC, which you have paid
okay,
at the time of purchase.
yes, sir.
And then whatever is your output tax, you adjust this amount from your output tax. To that extent, you do not pay your output tax. That is what is adjusting ITC. I don't know what you are saying, taking back ITC. This is what is adjusting ITC. So whatever input tax I have paid to my supplier, I will subtract that or I will adjust that from my output tax liability. In other words, to that extent, I don't have to pay my output tax. So my output tax, see, it is like, okay, I'll put it in different word. Input tax rate is like advance tax paid. So whatever input tax credit you are having, it is already advance tax paid to the government, because at the time of purchases, you have already paid this tax to the government, to the supplier, and supplier has paid to the government. So it is like your advance tax paid to the government. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is your current month's final tax liability, which you are supposed to pay because you are doing business, you have sold goods and services. So this is your output tax. But what you will tell government is, sir, I have already paid tax in advance in this amount. So to that extent, you will subtract that tax from your output tax liability.
Yes, sir. If in this 18,000 we subtracted 15,000, so balance 3,000 is there.
Will carry
That
forward. So I've shown here now, wherever you have adjusted less, the balance will be carried forward. You adjust it in the next month.
okay.
So out of that 5,000, if you have adjusted 3,000, 2,000 will be carried forward, adjust it in next month. Because if your current month liability is less, you will adjust only that much amount, whatever is your liability. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. Sammiran is saying, Sir, where do I get the condition that specify which ITC should I? This is what we are going to study today, Samiran. So our entire syllabus of studying is this only. What are the conditions? What are the restrictions? Correct, Samiran? Avijit says, sir, why I can't accept all the ITC? See, Avijit, because the law has given some restrictions. Like for tea coffee, they say we will not allow you ITC. So that you cannot take the ITC because the law does not allow you to do that. So what ITC is not allowed, that is what we will study. Correct? So that is because, see, you are studying a law. In every law, there are some conditions and restrictions. You have to follow those conditions and restrictions, only then you are able to comply with the law. So what the law allows, you cannot go beyond that. Correct? Is this clear, everyone? Any further queries?
Hello sir, I am Marshall.
Yes.
सर आई हैव क्यूरी कि जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि रिस्ट्रिक्शंस होते हैं हेंस नॉट अलाउड करता है कि पर्टिकुलर गुड्स या सर्विसेज पर आईटीसी
Perfect.
वी कांट क्लेम राइज अ रिस्ट्रिक्शन इन द गिवन
Correct.
एज अ लॉ सो
Correct.
माय क्वेश्चन इज सर कि यू गिवन एज एग्जांपल ऑफ अ टी एंड कॉफी सो इन that case why does not why does not restriction is allowed to the claim the ITC for the set of
बेटा मैंने आपको अभी वही एक्सप्लेन किया अभिजीत के भी क्वेश्चन को कि लॉ ने बोला है कि हम आपको ये चीज का क्रेडिट अलाउ नहीं करेंगे। चलो, आपने अभी तक इनकम टैक्स पढ़ा है हर्षल?
नो सर
अच्छा, ठीक है। आपको इनकम टैक्स में ये पता है कि एग्रीकल्चर इनकम पे टैक्स नहीं लगता है, ट्रस्ट के इनकम पे टैक्स नहीं लगता है। करेक्ट?
I know, sir.
नाउ let us say we are running this coaching classes. For the timing it is free. Let us say had there been some fees. Now, since I am not a trust, since I am not doing agriculture, I have to pay tax on this fees. Now, can you say कि नहीं नहीं सर, आपने इसको क्यों नहीं एग्जम्प्ट करा? अगर आपने एग्रीकल्चर को एग्जम्प्ट करा है और आपने अगर ट्रस्ट को एग्जम्प्ट करा है तो आपने इसको क्यों नहीं एग्जम्प्ट करा? तो मेरा आंसर क्या रहेगा? भाई मेरी मर्जी है। Today I feel that it is important to give benefit to agriculture because that is the lifeline of the country, so I am giving exemption. But I don't believe that this particular giving exemption to this is necessary, so I'm not giving exemption. That is simple answer. So as a lawmaker I believe कि मुझे इन चीजों का benefit नहीं देना चाहिए. Obviously there will be some reason, that reason we will discuss when we'll study each and every item. अभी जब तक मैंने आपको item नहीं बताया तो मैं उसका reason कैसे बताऊं? There will be some reasons, but ultimately the main question is कि why they are restricting certain item, because that is what the law feels कि इसका मुझे क्रेडिट नहीं देना चाहिए। क्यों नहीं देना चाहिए, उसके रीजंस है, दैट विल स्टडी। बट यू कैन नॉट से कि नहीं आपने इसका दिया तो इसका क्यों नहीं दिया। करेक्ट? जैसे हमने एग्रीकल्चर इनकम एग्जाम किया तो आपने बाकी के इनकम क्यों नहीं एग्जाम किया? अगर वैसे करेंगे तो फिर इनकम टैक्स लॉ बनाने का फायदा क्या है? देन देयर कैन बी नो टैक्स, एवरीबडी विल से कि भाई मेरा इनकम एग्जाम करो क्योंकि आपने दूसरे किसी का करा है। सो दैट इज नॉट हाउ द लॉ इज मेड। करेक्ट बेटा?
Yes, sir. Understood.
परफेक्ट। दो रेस्ट्रिक्शन जिन चीजों पे है, जब हम उन चीजों पे आएंगे तो आपको उसका एक मैं लॉजिक बताऊंगा, जो मेरे हिसाब से लॉजिक है कि एज अ लॉ मेकर अगर मैंने लॉ बनाया है तो मैंने क्यों वो चीजों को रेस्ट्रिक्ट किया है, उसका मेरा लॉजिक क्या है, दैट आई विल एक्सप्लेन। नाउ when we are studying this chapter of input tax rate, let me call it as ITC, we have to know certain important definitions like definition of inputs, capital goods, input service, क्योंकि इसका आपको क्रेडिट लेना है तो आपको पहले ये चीजों का मतलब मालूम होना चाहिए। फिर हमें वो कंडीशंस जानने हैं जिस कंडीशंस को, these conditions are given under section 16 of the CGST Act. So we are studying CGST Act. So it is given in section 16 of the CGST Act. Then there are some restrictions which are given in section 17 of the CGST Act, and there are some special situations, special scenarios which are covered in section 18. So Conditions which you have to satisfy to get the credit is given section 16. Restrictions where I will not allow the credit or I will restrict your credit is given in section 17, and some special aid.
Sir, you're muted. Sir, you are muted, sir.
Yes, students, sorry. So this is what we are going to study in this whole topic of input tax credit, and obviously some other provisions, but these are the main provisions which we are going to study over here. Correct? So now if anybody has any further queries, you can ask me, and then we will start with the topic in detail. Yes, students, waiting for your queries. No queries? Okay, great. Now one more point before I proceed. You have read in the very first chapter and everywhere when we talk about GST, one thing, that GST is a value addition tax. Why it is called as value addition tax? See, the tax which is payable by you at every stage is the tax on your value addition. Now, what is the value addition? value addition? It is 150. It is 250. So whatever is the value addition, you are paying tax on addition tax. I hope this example will also help you understand that. Fine, students? Chalo. Now let us go to the chapter in detail. So see what we are going to study, some important definitions, the conditions which will make you eligible for taking the ITC, that is for availing the ITC. Then when the ITC cannot be availed, which is the restriction, which is over here called as Brock credits. Then ITC in some special circumstances, which is section 18, and how it has to be utilized. There are again some restrictions, some conditions. So we'll see all of them. Correct? Now, let me start with some important definition of business. You have done. Agent is nothing different. So agent means a person, including a factor, broker, commission agent, aratia, del creditor agent. So by whatever name called, who is an agent? Agent is a person who carries on the business of supply or receipt of goods services on behalf of another. So this is a very common definition, the generic definition of of agent. That agent is the one who does the activity on behalf of the other person. That is the agent. Correct? Nothing great here. Business we have already studied in the initial topics. Now coming to the first important definition, which is applicable to the ITC chapter. What is this definition? Definition of capital goods. Because if you remember, I had shown you here that in your business there are three types of input. You have assets which we called as capital goods. Then you have other than asset goods which we call as inputs, and you have all the inward services. So these are the input of your business. Out of this, what is capital goods? So capital goods has been very simply defined. How is capital goods defined? Capital goods is defined as any goods the value of which is capitalized in your books. Simple. So what is input? Input means goods which are not capital goods. So in simple words, the value which is taken to balance sheet is what we say it is capitalized in books, and the value which is transferred to trading P&L is something which is not capitalized in the books. So simple, like when you purchase machinery, you show machinery in balance sheet. When you purchase building, you purchase land, you purchase shares, you show all these things in your balance sheet. So these are said to be capitalized. Now, whatever goods you are purchasing and you are capitalizing in your books, we call them as capital goods. What you are not capitalizing in your books means what? Like your purchases, like your packing material, what you do at the end of the year, you transfer them to trading P&L account. So that is what is not capitalized. So they are called as inputs. Is this first definition clear? Now what is very important is this part, which is common in all these definitions. What is this condition? That we will allow you credit only of those items who are purchased or which are purchased by you for the purpose of your business. So only when you use them or you intend to use them for your business, then only those items will come over here and you will get your input tax credit. In other words, let us say I purchase a water cooler. If I am purchasing it for my factory for the purpose of my workers, it will come in this particular condition. So if I'm capitalizing, it will go to capital goods. If I'm not capitalizing, it will be inputs, but it will be eligible for input tax credit because I'm intending to use them for my business. But if let us say the same water purifier I've purchased for the purpose of installing in my house, it is not used or intended to be used in my business, and hence it will not be eligible for ITC, and it will not come in the definition of either inputs or input capital goods or even input service. So wherever it is to be used for the purpose of business, only then you are eligible to get the ITC. Wherever it is for the purpose of your personal use, you are not eligible for ITC. So that definition gives a condition in itself that these items you will be eligible for ITC only when you are using it in business. Similarly, what is the definition of input service? Because this is the third item on your input side. It is any service, again the same condition. So any inward service which you are procuring for your business. So let us say I have hired a lawyer to take care of my business related matters. So the services of lawyer is used in my business. But if the same lawyer I have hired for fighting a case of property, which is my personal property, in that particular case, the services of lawyer will not be called as input service because they are not used for the purpose of the business. I hope definition, these three are clear. Now, what is input tax? Because you will be getting credit of input tax. Now, interestingly, if I first see the definition of input tax credit, nothing special is defined. It simply means it is the credit of input tax. So it is the benefit of input tax. Simple. But what is input tax? So input tax simply means all GST taxes. So whatever GST taxes you are paying while procuring goods or service, those are input tax. So what is input tax in relation to a registered person? Means the central tax, the state tax, the integrated tax, the union territory tax, which is charged on supply of goods, service, or both made to them. So on your inward side, whatever GST related taxes you are paying, the GST taxes which you are paying on the inward side are what are your input tax. Now it will include IGST paid on import of goods. It will also include taxes paid by you under RCM in 9394 or under 5354. Plus, it will include taxes paid by you under RCM of SGST Act or under RCM of UTGST Act. In short, all the GST taxes which you have paid on your inward side, either as per forward charge where the supplier has charged to you, or you have paid it by yourself under reverse charge, all the GST taxes will be your input tax. Is this clear? Any questions, students, up to these pointers? What is inward supply? It means receipt of goods or service, whether by way of purchase or acquisition or any other means, and maybe with or without consideration. So again, the definition is simple. All the items which are coming into your business is your inward supply. Samiran is asking, sir, in capital goods, can we claim ITC for immovable property? See, right now, I will give you the answer, but you will get the answer completely when you read section 17 where restrictions are put. For the time being, the answer is no. So you don't get the ITC of immovable property because when you read section 17 subsection 5 clause C clause D, you'll come to know that there are restrictions over there. Now those restrictions also have some exceptions, but for the time being, you can keep in mind, Samiran, that ITC is not available for immovable property. Fine, beta? Motor vehicle, NRTP, principal, quarter, all these things we need to discuss when the need arises. Right now, what is of importance is what is inward supply, because you get ITC of taxes paid on inward supply. Which tax is eligible? Input tax. What is input tax? All the taxes paid under GST law, whether in forward charge, reverse charge. And these input taxes should have been paid either on capital goods or on inputs or on input services. Then they are eligible for ITC. So this is what we have understood till now from these definitions. Now we come to our first section. What is this first section dealing with? It deals with the eligibility. Who is eligible? That is given in subsection 1. And what are the conditions to get the ITC? They are given in subsection 2. So eligibility is given in subsection 1, and what are the conditions for getting this ITC is given in subsection 2. But along with this one section 16, there are other connected sections, like you have section 41, which also talks about availment of input tax credit. And then you have various rules 36, 37, 37A, and so on. So we will study from this analysis part where everything together has been merged and combined and given to you at one place. Now, first is the eligibility. Now, what is the condition? It is given in section 16 bracket 1, and there are two basic conditions for eligibility. So who is eligible to take input tax credit? First, the person should be registered. And second, the good service should be for business. So this second condition is already given in the definition of capital goods, etc., but that is repeated in section 16 to avoid any confusion. So first, let us discuss about second condition. So wherever you are buying anything for your house, for your personal use, for your family use, it is not eligible for ITC. And it is logically correct also. Why? Because ITC is a benefit allowed to your business. Since you are doing some business in which you have some output tax to pay, so for that output tax payment, I am allowing you this input tax credit. Now, if this purchase is not going to be used in business, if it is not for business, there is no question of giving you the input tax. So second condition, which I'm discussing first, is the goods services should be for the purpose of business. Not for business, no ITC. Now, coming to the first condition, A. Let us say I have purchased those goods services for my business. But then, if I have not yet taken registration of the business under GST, so automatically I am not covered under GST. If I am not covered under GST, why will GST give me any benefit? So to get the benefit under GST, you have to first take registration under GST. So the first condition is that only registered persons are entitled to get the input tax rate of the GST, which they are paying on the inward side. So whatever you are purchasing, whatever services you are getting, on that whatever tax you have paid, I will give you the credit of that particular tax, provided you have taken registration. Further, what this point says, this is subject to provisions relating to use of ITC under section 49. So 49, when we are going to see, that will tell you how to use this ITC. That is the later part. But firstly, for getting the ITC, you have to be registered. That is the first condition. So first is getting the ITC, then comes the utilization. Utilization we'll study later, which is in section 49. So I hope for both the conditions which are for eligibility is clear. So one, you should be a registered person. Two, the good service should be for the purpose of your business. Both conditions satisfied, then only you will proceed to check the conditions. So you are a registered business. So let us take a simple example. Now to understand this whole ITC, I will take a simple example. So you are a registered CA firm. So just visualize, now we are in 2031. By that time, you have cleared your CA and you have started your practice. And today, your practice is flourishing. You have a 5 crore practice in a year, and hence you are registered under GST. Now, for running your business, you require many expenses to be incurred. You require many items to be purchased. You require many services to be availed. And on those items, on those goods, on those services, on those assets, while purchasing them, you are paying GST. Now, whether you will get the credit of GST or not. So first condition is, are you registered? Yes, you are a registered CA firm. Are these good services purchased for our business? That you have to check for everything. So you purchase AC. Is it for your home or for your business? Business, take GST. Home, don't take GST. You purchase laptop computers, You purchase mobile phones. Is it for your business, for your office? Yes, take GST. Or I'll say you have satisfied the first condition of eligibility. So we'll take this one example to understand all the conditions. So you are a registered CA firm. You are into practice. We are in the year 2031, that is 5 years from now. By that time, you have completed your CA course, qualified, and also are doing great in your practice. Now, for running this practice, you have taken the premises which is on rent. On rent, you are paying GST. For running this office, you have purchased laptops, computers, you have purchased other systems, you have purchased softwares. All these are your inward items of business. Now, they may be inputs, they may be input service, they may be capital goods, fine. But all are inward for your business. And while procuring them, you have paid GST. Then for your office, you have purchased various stationery items. You purchase paper for printouts. You have purchased the printing machine, the Xerox machine. All these are your inwards of your business. Now, whether you will get ITC or not, question one, are you registered? Yes. Are these goods, services purchased for your business? Yes. Whatever you have purchased for your personal use, for your house, you will exclude them. You don't get ITC. Now, besides satisfying the eligibility, you are given 6 conditions to fulfill. Only after fulfilling these 6 conditions, I will give you the ITC finally. And also, if your ITC is not restricted, not blocked under Section 17. But that will come later. Firstly, satisfy the basic conditions. Now, out of 6, the very first condition is, do you have the proper tax paying document? In simple words, invoice. So let us say you have purchased 10 computer systems for your office for rupees 25 lakhs. So this computer systems which you want to install in your office so that your staff can work on it, you have purchased them. Eligibility is satisfied. Now we are not going to talk about eligibility. Now we are on those 6 conditions. Similarly, besides these computer systems, you have purchased paper-3B. So these papers are the printing papers which you are going to require for doing printing of various reports, audit reports, and whatever investigation reports, whatever you are going to do in your business. For their printing, you require the paper. So you have even purchased the paper, correct? So 2 things you are purchasing for the time being. One is computer systems, which is capital goods. Another is paper, which is your inputs. Third thing is your premises is on rent. Per month rent is 2.5 lakhs on which the landlord is charging you GST. So this is the third item, which is input service. Now for all these 3 items, we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss that whether ITC you can get or not, and for getting ITC, what are the conditions? So first, are you registered? Yes. Are these 3 items for your business? Yes. No doubt about this. Now we proceed with conditions. Anil is asking, how can we judge whether it is real or not? What is real, beta? What do you mean to say real or not? What is real? Again, beta, what it means invoice? What do you mean by invoice is real or not? I'm still not getting you, Anil. See, if you unmute, you can explain me what you want to ask. You are saying, how do we judge whether it is real or not? That is the invoice. So what do you mean by invoice being real or not? What is a not real invoice? Let us take practical. If you have some example, tell me. So you go to any shop, you buy something, the shopkeeper gives you invoice. That is the invoice. Now, what is real and what is not real? So Vedant, beta, what is authentic? So you are saying he may mean authentic. See, I have given you real life example. Now you give me real life questions. So you purchase laptop and computers for your office, correct? You purchase paper rims and you are paying rent. Now the very first condition is that you should be having proper tax paying document, which in simple words means invoice. Now they have given different types of documents which are used in GST for paying the tax. Whatever is the document, it may be invoice, it may be revised invoice, it may be invoice created by the recipient under RCM, it may be debit note, it may be bill of entry, it may be the invoice given by the input service distributor. These are the different documents or invoices. Any of these documents, whatever are related to you, now in our case, it will be invoice. So if you have proper invoice, you will be eligible for the ITC. Now Anil is saying, sir, nowadays people are generating fake invoice. Okay, see, now when you're talking about fake invoice, that is altogether a different concept. See, what is fake invoice? You have not purchased any goods or service, only you are taking invoice just to show that expense in your business. So one benefit is your income tax will be reduced because you are showing some expense, so your profit is reduced, so your tax is reduced. Plus, on that amount of invoice, you will be taking or getting the input tax credit, so you're also getting the benefit of GST. So if you're talking about this type of case where let us say you have not purchased any computer, not purchased any paper, but you have only taken an invoice. So that is what you are saying is fake invoice. Now your question is how to know. See, this is where the role of auditor comes. So in auditing, you study how to check whether the transaction which the businessman is showing in his business are genuine or not, are real or not. So that way you'll come to know from the auditing chapter that GST is not going to explain you how to decide whether it is fake or not. That you have techniques given in audit. So study the audit chapter well. Audit is a very interesting subject. It will help you find out all these fraudulent activities done. So how to find that out? That audit will teach you. Another question which I'm getting from Rashid is, Umaira Rashid is asking me, "Ki, sir, how can we find if ITC is taken is for business or person?" See, again, think like an auditor. So let us say you're auditor of my CA firm. Now I'm saying ki I have purchased these 10 invoice. I'm giving you invoice of 10 PC systems, saying that I have purchased 10 PC systems. Now, how will you check whether this is genuine or not? Really, I have purchased it and I'm using it in business or not? You should simply ask me, okay, chalo, let us do physical verification of these items. These are some stock items. They should be lying in your office. Chalo, show me. So these are the auditing techniques, Amira Beda, from where you will be able to check whether they are actually used in business, or let us say you are showing AC, you are showing some water purifier and it is used in house. So that you can always cross check. Now, if you want to go into much detail, see every item has some code or number. Like your mobile phones have the IMEI number, your ACs also have some numbers. So if let us say I'm showing you some AC in my office and you doubt whether it is the same AC of which the bill is produced, you can always check the IME number or the code number of that machine given in the invoice with the code number printed on that machine. All these are the physical verification checks. Fine, beta? Samiran is saying, sir, we claim the input which has purchased for use of office and paper, paint, and room rent paying to landlord will pay RCM on that. So Samiran, beta, whatever, whether it is RCM or whether it is forward charge, right now, that doesn't make a difference because we have already seen in the definition of input tax whether the supplier charges the GST under forward charge or you are paying the GST under RCM. Both are input tax, so both are eligible for credit. Correct? So what is the first condition, students? The first condition is that you should have proper document. Now, when this document will be proper, it will be proper when the document has at least the following details. First, it should show the amount of tax charge. It should give the description of your goods service. It should show the total value of goods. It should show the GST number of the supplier and the recipient, and it should show place of supply. When all these details are present, these are the minimum details. Other details can be there, but these are the minimum details which should be present on the invoice. Only then the invoice will be considered as a valid document for taking ITC. Correct? Abhijit, beta, let us talk about fake invoicing a bit later, because what is happening, we have not yet understood basics and we are going on the most sensitive part of this, that is fake invoice, correct? And right now, what you are asking me is anyways out of the syllabus of this topic. You are saying what happens during fake invoice. So the simple answer is whenever you are caught, you have to pay penalty. And if the amount exceeds a particular limit, you may be even put behind the bars for involving in such fraudulent activity. That is a simple answer, beta. Now, now here there is one inbuilt restriction. What is that restriction? No ITC of tax which is paid towards demands involving fraud. Now, what is this? Let us say your supplier was trying to, you are actually purchasing something, but you are purchasing it in black. Black means without disclosing it to government, and how? Without preparing invoice. Now, let us say tomorrow your supplier gets caught. There is some raid and the supplier gets caught. So supplier says, okay, sir, no problem. Now I'm making the invoice. So supplier makes the invoice and gives you the invoice and you pay the GST to the supplier. Now, whether can you get the input tax credit of that GST? So there is a restriction where the supplier was caught doing some fraud or doing some misstatement or doing some suppression. Now, all these things are done under section 74, which you study in assessment topic. So, whenever the supplier is caught and after getting caught, the supplier says, okay, now I'll do all the compliances. And because he is caught, now he prepares the invoices, which was earlier evaded by him. He had earlier not created invoice for those transactions, but because now he's caught, some books, some diaries found in which all these transactions are written. So now he says, okay, I will prepare the invoice. So he gives you the invoice, he charges GST. Now, can you get the input tax rate of such GST? The answer is no. So interestingly, where after getting caught, the supplier makes the invoice and gives to you, you will not be eligible to take the input tax credit. This is what is the condition or restriction given in rule 36 bracket 3. Now we come to the second condition. So the first condition was that you should have proper invoice with minimum details in the invoice. Now that condition is satisfied. Now we go to the second condition. Now I have a question. Now it is from Dhanlakshmi. Purchase of computer for business use, but later taken for personal. What happens to the tax credit taken? Do we need to reverse it? See, if you are purchasing for business initially and then later on diverting it from business to any other use, the law requires you to reverse the ITC. So you should reverse the ITC. You should return back the ITC to the government by paying it. So whatever benefit you have taken of ITC, that has to be returned back. Correct? Okay. Now moving to the second condition. Now for second condition, you have to slightly understand the returns chapter first, because second condition is slightly linked to the returns chapter. Now in GST, as a supplier, so whoever is your supplier, after the end of the month, the supplier will file his first return called as GSTR1, in which the supplier will give details of his outward supplies. And then he files another return, which is GSTR3B, which is the final return in which both input, output, all details are given, and finally he pays the tax. Now, this is your supplier. Now, same thing at your end. You are the buyer. For your outward supplies also, you will find GSTR1. But here we are not concerned with your outward supplies. We are concerned with your inward supplies because we are talking about input tax credit. Now, how is the GST return system designed? When your supplier is filing his GSTR1, which is giving details of his outward supply, in that details, one invoice is pertaining to me. I have purchased those computers from him. I have purchased the paper from him. I have taken the premises on rent. So one of his invoices is pertaining to me. when he is filing his GSTR1, what exactly he is telling the government? He is giving details of all his outward invoices to the government. He is saying to the government, see, during this month, I have made so many outward supplies. Now, in that list, let us say he has given 40 invoices in that period because he has made 40 outward supplies. One invoice is pertaining to me. Now, when he submits the details of all these 40 invoices through his GSTR1. So when he files this GSTR1, when he uploads the details of those 40 invoices in his GSTR1, the GSTN, that is the GST network, the GST portal, what it does, on the basis of his outward return, there is one return created on my portal, which is GSTR2A, 2B. This you can say is your inward data return. So whenever my supplier files his outward supply details in his GSTR1, where he gives details of all the invoices, the portal does what? In the invoice details, what he has uploaded, he has written my GST number. So the portal comes to my GSTN and he shows me the details in my inward return. My inward return is GSTR 2A 2B return, where whatever my supplier has shown is appearing. So I can see all my inward invoices which my different suppliers have shown in their GSTR1. Now this is what is the second condition. The second condition says I will get credit of all my inward supplies only after the supplier has shown it in his outward supplies. Now let us say if for some reason my supplier of this paper rim forgot to upload his GSTR1. Forgot means he is late for some reason. There is some problem in his business or he is outstation or whatever reason. He has not filed his GSTR1. So that invoice will not be reflected in my GSTR 2A 2B. Similarly, if let us say he has filed his GSTR1, but in that 40 invoices, he missed 5 invoices. He only gave details of 35 invoices. He missed 5 invoices. Out of those 5, one of the invoice was my invoice. So in other words, again that is not going to reflect in my GSTR 2A 2B. So the point is, when supplier files his outward details in his GSTR1 return, that detail gets auto-populated. We use this word auto-populated because it is now automatically coming in my GSTN. So when I open my GSTN, when I log into my GSTN, it is appearing automatically in my GSTR 2A 2B, which is my inward supply return. So the second condition is, in order that I take the credit, it should appear in my GSTR 2A 2B, that is in my inward return. And how it will appear? Only when my supplier has uploaded his GSTR1. It will get communicated to me in my GSTR 2A 2B. Earlier it was called as 2A, now it is called as 2B. So the second condition is supplier should upload this invoice in his GSTR1 and that invoice should appear in my inward return, that is GSTR 2A or 2B. I hope the second condition is clear. Now, what it says, ITC of those invoices which are not reflecting in my GSTR 2B, I cannot take the input tax credit in this month. But yes, I will be able to take it in the future month whenever these details are appearing. So whenever the supplier files his GSTR1, he uploads the details of my invoices in his GSTR1 and they are appearing in my 2A 2B. So in whichever months 2A 2B the invoices are appearing, I will be able to take credit in that particular month. So until and unless it is appearing in my 2A 2B, I cannot take the credit. Is the second condition clear, students? Anil, beta, let us come outside fraud. Why we are only talking about fraudulent things? See, let us first understand the normal scenario. There are only 10% or even less than 10% who are doing fraud. Why we are not talking about the 90% people? But still answering your question, what if the fraud is not related to GST? Then this particular restriction will not come. Correct? Samiran is asking, sir, is there any way by which of that we can upload our purchase invoice? See, you cannot yourself upload your purchase invoice in your 2A2B. 2A2B is the auto-populated statement. It is created by the GST portal automatically on the basis of details uploaded by your supplier. So you cannot upload your purchase invoices. So if your supplier has missed, it is not going to come in your GSTR 2A2B and you cannot take the credit in that month. In fact, this is what is a very big practical challenge somewhere today. So many times our supplier either unintentionally or at times intentionally do not upload my invoice. And that is where I do not get the credit in that month. So I have to be behind my supplier, asking the supplier to kindly upload the invoice because until and unless it appears in my 2A2B, I don't get the credit. And yes, I do not have the choice of uploading it myself. That option is not available with me. See, Vedant, if my supplier is not uploading, what mechanism people are using? They stop payment of the supplier. So you don't make payment to him. So automatically the person will have to upload. So this is now what the businesses have started doing, that where they find that the supplier is not uploading or the supplier may not upload, they don't make the payment to the supplier till that date is over. Only after it is reflecting in my returns, in my 2A2B, then only I make payment to the supplier. Correct? Vedant, but if payment is done, then it is your problem. Then you can go to the court and fight. Correct? So if supplier is still not uploading, you go to the court and fight. You file a case against the supplier. पवन बेटा बी पॉइंट सिंपल इतना है कि सप्लायर को अपना सेल्स का डेटा अपलोड करना है उनके जीएसटी पोर्टल में, जिसमें वो जिस रिटर्न में ये अपलोड करेंगे उसका नाम है GSTR1। जब सप्लायर अपने GSTR1 में वो डेटा अपलोड करता है उसके सेल्स का, तो वो मेरे परचेज रिटर्न में दिखने लगेगा। मेरा परचेज रिटर्न है GSTR2B। और सेकंड कंडीशन यही है कि मुझे क्रेडिट मेरे सप्लायर ने अपने सेल्स रिटर्न में वो इनवॉइस दिखाया होगा, जो कि अब ऑटोमेटिकली मेरे परचेज रिटर्न में दिख रहा है। तो जब तक मेरे परचेज रिटर्न में वो इनवॉइस नहीं दिखता है, मुझे वो इनवॉइस का क्रेडिट नहीं मिलेगा। दिस इज द सेकंड कंडीशन पवन। दिस इज फाइन बेटा? चलो, let us now take our break. So we take a 10 minutes break, and after 10 minutes we come back and we deal with other conditions. Fine, students?
ब्रेक होगी सर।
यस सर, आप कुछ बोल रहे हैं संकेत जी? या आई हैव गिवन देम 10 minutes break. Now coming to our third condition. Now, third condition is that you should have actually received. Now see, this condition is basically intending to ensure that there is no fake billing, which question I was asked at the initial part. So this condition ensures received. So if it is a case of fake billing, automatically you will be not entitled to get ITC, because in that case, the goods or services are not actually received by you. It is only a paper transaction. Now here, there are some important explanations and clarifications. Now, firstly, what does the condition requires? The condition requires that you, that is the buyer, should have received the goods. However, there is a very interesting scenario which is called as a bill to ship to model. What is this model? So in this, there is a supplier, there is a buyer. Now I'll take you again, I'll give you a practical example. Same case. As I said, I am buying a laptop for my business, for my CA profession. But I have one of the employee who is doing work from home. Now, this is a very common scenario, especially post-COVID. Now, many big companies have made it a permanent scenario whereby they ask the employee to sit at their home and maybe visit the employer's place only once in a week or once in 2 weeks, just for discussion with the superior, supervisor, or the manager, whoever. Now, what all these companies have done, since for doing the work of the company, the employee will require proper laptop of some high-end model plus various softwares installed. So company does what? It procures the laptop with all the softwares inbuilt and asks the supplier of the laptop to delivery directly to the employee's residence. So this model is called as a bill to, because bill will be raised on me, but delivery, that is shipped to, will be done to a third person's address. Now a query was raised that in this particular case, practically I have not received any goods. So whether this third condition will be said to be satisfied or it will remain unsatisfied. Now in this particular case, there is an explanation given in this section itself. What does this explanation says? That whenever goods are delivered to this third person's address on my direction, the law will assume that I have received the goods. In short, the condition given in 16(2)(b) will be deemed to be satisfied. So what is the condition? What is the requirement? That requirement of this condition is that I should have received the good service. However, for this particular specific business model, which is called as bill to ship to model, there is an inbuilt exception given in the section itself by way of an explanation, which says that in case of bill to ship to model, where the goods are delivered to a third person's address on my direction, then when the goods are received by this third person, it will be deemed that I have received the goods, and this condition of receiving of goods, and similarly if services are also done in the same fashion, will be deemed to have been received by me, and this condition will be deemed to have been satisfied. Fine. Anil is asking, sir, what is the role of 3B while claiming ITC? I'll explain better. Once we come to 3B, you'll get to know. Next, Shankar is asking, sir, can be claimed ITC 3B for current if invoice reflected in 2A to be not generated for current? Bapre. Shankar beta, I did not understand your question. I think you will have to rephrase your question, or if you want, I can unmute you, you can ask me. But what you have typed, I have not understood beta. So the first special case which is covered over here is the bill to ship to case. So what is clarified? That even though I have not received the goods myself, but delivering the goods to my customer or to my employee or to any person whom I have directed, Once the goods are delivered to them, it will be deemed that I have received the goods, and this condition would be deemed to have been fulfilled. First explanation or first point in this condition. Now comes the second point. Now this is arising out of a practical situation. What is this practical situation? Let us understand. Now, I am a dealer of motor vehicle. So I have a showroom. This showroom is in some good location of the city. So you will be finding such showrooms in your city also. Now, as a dealer, I require to purchase the motor cars. From whom do I purchase? I purchase it from the manufacturer who is called as the OEM. OEM is the original equipment manufacturer. In short, the manufacturer of motor car. So let us say I am Mahindra company dealer. So Mahindra and Mahindra becomes the OEM. Now, what I do is I purchase or I get these cars from the supplier, that is the Mahindra and Mahindra company's factory, or maybe their godown if they are keeping their cars in some godown. Fine. Now, what is the practical scenario? The practical scenario is that all these car manufacturing companies, they are located many times in some backward districts, backward areas to get all the benefits of state government subsidy and all. I am located in prime areas where there will be huge demand for motor car. Now let us say this distance is some 1,000 kilometers and it takes around 5-6 days for this vehicles to be delivered to me, because these vehicles will be delivered in a special truck. As you can see here, you would have seen such type of trucks, those long vehicles. At times they are open or at times they are even covered, and in that, in 2 layers, the cars are transported. Now since these are long vehicles, the transportation time is more than the regular vehicles. Now what is the point? The point is, as per the contract, as per my contract with Mahindra and Mahindra, they say that this transport has to be done by me. Means Mahindra and Mahindra says, you come to my factory gate and take the cars from here. It means Mahindra and Mahindra is not going to deliver the cars at my showroom. It is my headache, it is my responsibility to collect the cars from Mahindra and Mahindra company's factory or go down wherever they will tell me. Now I will put some timelines. So I send my transporter. So I hire a transporter. I ask the transporter to go to the factory. Let us say the factory is somewhere in interiors of Haryana and I am in Mumbai. Now I send this transporter there. The transporter loads these cars. When? Let us say on 24th of March. These cars are loaded in this truck. Now, from the end of this Mahindra and Mahindra company, they have done the sale, because now their responsibility is over, transportation is done by me. So from their end, sale is done, dispatch is done. However, the goods reaches me on 7th of April because of the long distance and the travel time because of the long vehicles. Now, this supplier, while filing the March return, because for him the sale has happened in March, he has uploaded this particular sale details in his March return itself. So it is appearing in my March month's purchase return also. But practically, the goods have reached me in April. Now, a typical situation over here is I am going to get the credit, there is no doubt, because all the conditions are being satisfied, goods are also received. The only question is, which month am I eligible to get this credit? The month of March or the month of April? Why this question? Because I've taken the delivery here in the month of March, when the sale is also complete from the side of the supplier, the manufacturer. They have even given the invoice, they have uploaded the invoice. But physically, the goods are reaching me. Physically, I am receiving the goods in April. So the only question that comes from this scenario is when I need to take the credit. Now, such cases where I have to collect the goods from the supplier's factory or the supplier's premises, I have to go and collect. Such cases are called as X works contracts or X works delivery, where I have to go and collect it from your factory gate, from your premises. You are not going to send it to me. Now, in this case, the question is which month the law presumes that the goods have been received. The answer given is by way of a circular. This circular has clarified that in such cases where the goods will be physically reaching me in April, but I have taken the delivery. Now, how I have taken the delivery? I have sent my truck, my driver took the delivery from the supplier. The supplier uploaded the goods on the truck, gave the invoice. So from the supplier's end, the sale is complete. In such cases, the circular clarifies that again it is deemed that the day when these goods are loaded on the vehicle, the day when this invoice is prepared and the sale is completed by the seller, the supplier, we will deem that when your transporter received the goods, you received the goods. This is what we are deeming. In short, this circular clarifies that I will be able to take the credit in the month of March itself. That is the date on which my transporter took the delivery of the goods. So it is clarified that the registered person can be considered to have received the goods. So again, we are deeming that I have received the goods when such goods have been handed over by the supplier to the transporter at his own factory gate. So the date when the supplier loads the goods on my vehicle, on my truck, on my transporter's truck, that date is deemed to be the receipt of goods by me. Is this clear? Understood? Any doubts, students? Fine. Is this clarification understood?
Hello.
Okay. So let us proceed then, students.
Sir, I have one query, sir.
Yeah, please,
Sir,
Beda.
in case of time of supply, sir, as you were talking the time of supply, the date of invoice and the availability of goods, the date whichever is earlier, we used to take, no, sir, time of that is
Correct,
the
you're right,
date
Beda.
we have.
But that
So
isn't time
in
of
this
supply.
case,
Don't mix it with ITC. ITC has its own separate conditions.
okay, sir.
So getting ITC is different set of conditions, and paying tax as per time of supply is different set of conditions, right?
Okay, that is for paying, and this is for
Yes.
availing the credit.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is from the supplier side. This is from the recipient side.
Recipient side. Okay,
Correct?
sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in your given case, as a Haryana to the Mumbai transportation of vehicle, in that, sir, date is 24th March is a handover, right, sir, of a transportation for the. So in that case, it can be available only at the time of 24th March. Means from that date, ITC can be available by the dealer, right, sir? Okay, sir.
Okay. Anil is asking, sir, could you please explain the reason for keeping that day as deemed? So, but why it is deemed? Because in real, I have not received the goods, but the law wants to allow me the credit. The reason is simple, because when let us say, had I gone there myself in the truck and taken the delivery, then you would have accepted, na? Because then you would have said, okay, sir, you have taken the delivery. It means you have received the goods. So whether I go or my transporter goes, so my transporter is on my behalf. So if he takes the goods delivery, it is as good as I have taken the delivery. So that is the back-end reason for allowing this, Maithili sir. So
I
when
mean,
the
like, it would be more appropriate when we record it after reaching to the buyer, right?
no, but they have said that the moment the goods are uploaded on the truck, that day it will be treated as if the goods have been received by the recipient. Correct?
Okay, sir, could you please tell me, what is there any specific reason for keeping
But I
so?
just gave you the reason. What did I tell you? Let us say, had I gone there and taken the delivery, then you would have given me in March or not?
Yes, sir.
Why? If I myself am
I,
going in the truck and taking the goods from the supplier, so since the supplier is giving me the goods there on at his factory gate in March, since I am going and taking the delivery, then you will say, okay, sorry, I'll give you the crate in March. But I cannot go every time, so I'm sending somebody on my behalf. So the person who is going is acting like my agent, na?
okay, sir, got it.
Correct?
Yeah, sir, got it.
सर
हाँ,
इसमें इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हम खुद ही अपनी डिलीवरी लेंगे
तो नहीं है ना बेटा, आप खुद हर बार थोड़ी ना जाओगे, यू विल सेंड समवन ना. सो
नहीं
इसीलिए तो
नहीं
उन्होंने ये
मतलब वो खुद अपने तरफ से नहीं भेजेंगे, हम अपने तरफ से ही
यस
भेजेंगे ना.
तभी तभी ये पॉइंट का मतलब है. अगर वो खुद भेजने वाले हैं तब तो जिस दिन हमें रिसीव होगा दैट इज द डेट ऑफ रिसिट. फिर ये वाला सर्कुलर आपके काम में नहीं आएगा. ये सर्कुलर तभी काम में आता है जब आपने अपने ट्रांसपोर्टर को भेजा है.
थैंक यू सर.
यस बेटा. Gaurav, we cover all types of transport: road transport, rail transport, air transport, sea transport, all are covered. The logic remains same. If I am sending my person for collecting the goods, if the goods are collected by my person and maybe transported through rail, through air, whatever, but my person has collected the goods, then the date when my person has collected the goods will be deemed to be the date of receipt by me, because my person has gone and collected the goods. That is what is the point. Correct, beta? Maithili sir, so when the invoice filed in portal in that month, we will receive ITC. Yes. Correct. Now comes the fourth condition. Now let me tell you, this fourth condition is today actually not applicable. I repeat, practically this fourth condition is not applicable today. Why it is not applicable today? Because the fourth condition requires the government to make certain rules to implement this fourth condition, or there are multiple conditions in this fourth condition. To implement them, the government needs to frame certain rules. However, till date, no rules have been framed by the government for this, and hence I am saying that for this particular case, the fourth condition is not applicable. But today it is in the law, so we have to study it for academic purposes. So what it says, the details of ITC should be communicated to the registered person. This already was the condition above, so it should appear in your 2B. And most important, section 38 has not restricted that ITC. Now what does 38 says? That is what we need to understand. Now firstly, this condition was there above also, that this ITC should appear in your GSTR 2B, which is your purchase returns or your inward returns. Now in GSTR 2B, when this ITC is appearing in front of the name of that supplier or in front of the details of that invoice, the GSTR 2B itself is writing ITC available or ITC not available. So the GSTR 2B itself contains the details of your inward supply, and it is writing in front of that whether ITC is available or ITC is not available. Now, on what basis it will write that ITC is not available? The conditions are given in section 38, where the ITC will not be available. Now, when the ITC will not be available, if you have made purchases from such a person who is a registered supplier but who has newly taken registration. So it means the person has just taken registration fresh and you have purchased from such supplier. Now, how much new he should be, that time will be prescribed by the government, which is by rules. Until date, no rules have been made. So today, even if you are buying from a freshly registered supplier, at least today, you are getting the credit. Why? Because even though this condition restricts the credit, but this condition requires the government to prescribe, that is, frame the rule as to up to what period of taking registration you will not allow credit from a new supplier. But till now, they have not prescribed the time. Hence, this condition practically is not applicable. Similarly, what is the second restriction when you will not get the ITC? If your supplier has not made the payment of tax and this default is continuing again for some prescribed period. Vapas prescribed means by rules. So rules have not been framed yet. So again, this second condition also, even though written in the law, will not be applicable as on date. So what is the second condition? So the supplier from whom you have purchased, that supplier has defaulted the government, let us say for 6 months, 1 year in making payment of tax, then you will not get the credit. But whether this period will be 6 months or 3 months or 1 year, this is to be informed by the government by making rules which are not yet done. Next, third condition given is where the supplier has shown higher tax in GSTR1 but paid lesser tax through GSTR3B. So it means when the supplier has filed his outward return, he showed sales of 10 lakhs. But when he filed his 3B, in which again you have to show both input and output, he has showed only the sales of 9 lakhs. So in GSTR1, he's showing sales of 10 lakhs, but in GSTR3B, he's showing sales of 9 lakhs. So it means his GSTR1 sales is exceeding his GSTR3B sales. And again, this is happening for some prescribed limit. Now, what is that limit? Again, that is not yet prescribed because rules are not made. So if there is a difference between his outward supply and what he is showing in his 3B returns where he has to pay the tax, and this difference is more than a prescribed limit, you will not get ITC. But I don't know what is the limit because government has not prescribed. So again, this rule not applicable to. Similarly, your supplier has taken extra credit than what is appearing in his GSTR2B. So let us say in this month, the supplier's GSTR2B, that is your supplier's inward return, is showing a credit of 1,50,000. But he has taken a credit of 2 lakhs. So he has taken extra credit than what the supplier's 2B is showing. Again, how much extra he has taken? He has taken extra by a prescribed limit. What limit? We don't know. But if the supplier takes credit more than the amount appearing in his GSTR2B and this amount is in excess by a certain percentage, you will not get the credit. But till date, that percentage is not given. So again, this condition is not restricting you. Next, if the supplier has defaulted in discharging his tax liability in accordance with section 4912 read with rule 86B. What is 86B? That you are going to study later. Again, in that particular case, you will be not allowed the credit. And last, where the supplier is falling in a list of some specified persons, again the list will be given by the government. Now, till date, none of these conditions are applicable. Why? Because for each condition, something has to be prescribed, something has to be given in the rules by the government, which they have not yet given. And until they give these conditions in the rules, the conditions which we are reading right now are mere theory conditions, and hence they are not applicable today. Yes, Anil, you're right. So that is why I said this particular condition which we just studied is only a theoretical condition. Now coming to the next condition, the fifth condition, which is very critical. Now, this condition is that your supplier has not paid the tax to the government, your credit will not be allowed. Or in other words, your credit will be allowed only when your supplier has paid his tax properly. How he pays his tax properly? Either using his cash, that is money, or by utilizing his ITC properly. If he has not paid the tax, or if he has paid the tax by not utilizing his ITC correctly, you will not get your credit from such supplier. Now, this condition was challenged in the courts. So originally there was only this condition, but this condition was challenged in multiple high courts, and multiple high courts said that this condition, such type of a condition, is draconian, is very strict, and it cannot be implemented because I have no responsibility whether my supplier is paying the tax or not. How can I control whether my supplier pays the tax or not? If my supplier is not paying the tax, why should I be penalized? Because of such judgments, the government had to tone down this section. So they brought a parallel condition in section 41 and they added this point here, subject to 41. Now, what does this 41 says? This 41 says, we will not disallow you credit immediately in case your supplier has not paid tax. Now, let us take an example. I have made purchases in the month of August 2025. So, ITC also I should get in August 2025. All conditions are satisfied. But only one condition is satisfied, supplier has not paid the tax. So supplier has not filed his GST-3B return of August and he has not paid the tax. Now, if I go by the original condition which was there originally, I should have not got the credit here itself. However, as I said, because of multiple judgments of different high courts, the government had to slightly tone down this section and they brought this special section as an exception to this. Now, what does this section says? This section read with Rule 37A says what? If you have made a purchase in August, all other conditions which we studied are satisfied. Only one condition is not satisfied, that the supplier did not pay his tax for August. Now, how do you pay tax? You pay tax by filing the GSTR3B return. In GSTR3B return, you again show your outward and inward. See here, you have already shown outward in GSTR1, but that was in detail. Each invoice, everything over there, each and every invoice inward details are appearing. You have taken the lump sum figure in 3B. So 3B is what? 3B is the lump sum figures of 1 and 2B both at one place. And if any other additional figure which is not appearing in 1 and 2B, all those things are added in 3B. And then your 3B shows your total output tax, total input tax credit, the set off, and the balance tax which is paid by you or which is supposed to be paid by you through your bank, and you attach the payment challan and then only 3B is filed. So how 3B operates? 3B gives the lump sum figures. Lump sum figure of sales, lump sum figure of purchases, and the final tax payable, and you have to pay it using challan, and after paying it through challan, your 3B is filed. Now, in this particular case, supplier has not paid tax. It means he has not filed his 3B return. Now the revised condition as per 41 section and Rule 37A is you need not reverse the credit. So now this condition has been removed. So you continue to take the credit. So you will still get the credit in August 25 itself. No need to reverse it. No need to leave that credit. Just ensure that you are making follow-up with your supplier. Ask the supplier to pay this tax. Ask the supplier to file his 3B returns, because the moment he files his 3B return, he has to pay tax, or without paying tax, the 3B will not be filed. Now you are given time up to next year September to ensure what? That your supplier pays the tax. Now, first possibility, supplier paid the tax. When? In August 26, after 1 year. Now, as per this revised condition in section 41 and rule 37A, you had already taken credit in August and your credit is valid. You don't have to do anything, provided your supplier has paid tax before 30th September 26. That is after the end of this current financial year, up to next year's September end, the supplier should have filed the 3B return and paid the tax. My first option is supplier has filed it in August 26. Your entire problem is over. You have to do nothing. Second possibility, your supplier has still not filed the return and you have reached 30th September 26. Now, if your supplier does not file the return up to this date, then you are given further 2 months up to 30th November. To do what? To reverse the ITC which you had taken here. So you took ITC immediately. You kept the ITC with you. You did not reverse it because of this new condition. You can keep the ITC with you. But now the requirement is that up to the next year, September, the supplier should have paid the tax. And if by chance the supplier fails to pay the tax, within next 2 months, you are given 2 months to reverse the credit and importantly, while reversing, pay the interest also because you have used the credit. If you have used the credit means you have used the benefit, reverse the credit. Now in this situation, what happens? The supplier did not pay the tax here, but the supplier paid tax and filed his 3B in January 27. Now you had reversed the credit here. Now whenever the supplier pays the tax and files his return, which in my example is January 27, you re-avail the ITC. So what is this new condition? What is this amended condition? So original condition was that if supplier does not pay tax, you will not get credit in that month itself. However, this condition has now been changed because of multiple judgments of the court. They say that you continue to take the ITC and then wait up to next year, September, to check if supplier files his returns and pays the tax. If supplier does that, no problem, you are safe. But if supplier does not file his return and pay tax up to this date, by 30th November, that is in next 2 months, you reverse your ITC and pay interest also. If you have utilized the ITC, pay interest. But this ITC is not completely lost. Whenever the supplier will file the returns and pay tax, you can re-avail the ITC. So supplier does not furnish return up to 30th September, then you have to reverse the ITC. Correct? Then re-availment, whenever the supplier subsequently furnishes the return 3B, you can re-avail the amount of credit. This is what is the condition, students. Right?
Sir, I have one query.
Yeah.
Sir, like in case of millions of rupees, like not like small business people, like if a specific person called A with the crores of business has taken the ITC without a payment from a supplier, and later he failed to reverse it due to his liquidity position, In that case, how will this be handled by the department, sir?
But our department has power to attach your bank account, power to attach your property. So where you are not paying the valid tax to the government or you are not reversing the ITC which the law requires, they will send you notice, they will send you intimation, and then they will attach your property and recover their money.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, correct. Samiran, good question, Veda. See, mismatch is possible because whatever data is coming in 3B can be still changed. So 3B is still editable. So what people do is that even though the details are coming in 3B from their GSTN 1 and 2B itself, but people later on change that in 3B. So this is why there is a mismatch between your 2B and 3B. Correct, Beta Samiran?
Sir, my question
Yes.
is that when we are re-availing the reverse ITC, so will we get that interest also, which we paid
Unfortunately,
during
that
the
will be your
reverse?
loss. That will
Okay,
be your
but that
loss.
is the exploitation. But sir, that's our exploitation now.
Exactly, it is. But Beta, that is the, you can say the explanation or the excuse given by the law is that they allowed you so much of time and you are not able to get your supplier to file the returns and pay the tax. So you have to bear the burden. You recover it from your supplier because it is his mistake, na?
Okay.
But
Okay, sir,
the
got it.
tax will recover it from you. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And students, the last condition, which is very simple one, is that registered person means you, that is the buyer, should have filed his GSTR 3B and claimed the ITC in that GSTR 3B. So in GSTR 3B, as I said, you have both details, outward and inward. So in that inward detail, you should show your ITC. So if you forget to show the ITC in your GSTR 3B, again, I will not give you ITC because ITC can be taken only through GSTR 3B. So the moment you put the ITC in GSTR 3B column, only then you become eligible to take that ITC. The last condition, the sixth condition, which is a simple one, which is put over here, is that you should have shown that ITC in your GSTR 3B. So when you are filing, you means the buyer, you are filing your final return, which is 3B. You should have shown that ITC. Now see, this problem presently will not be there because now this particular 3B is auto-populated. So now automatically what is coming in your 2B is automatically coming in your 3B also. But this was earlier where everything was to be typed by hand in 3B. Now practically this condition will not affect much because now the figures are coming auto-populated from your 2B to your 3B. But this is still a condition given in the law that you should have taken that ITC in your 3B. If you forget, if you fail to take that ITC in your 3B, you will be seeing one condition under section 16 bracket 4, that is a time limit. That is the last date up to which you can show that ITC in your 3B. If you miss that timeline, thereafter you will not be able to get that credit. So the last condition for getting the credit is you should have shown it in your GSTR 3B. Fine, students? So with this, we complete the entire section 16. Yes, Maithili.
Yes, I have one doubt.
Yeah.
In condition number E condition is only applicable to supply of goods, or it's also applicable for supply of services?
But there is no condition given on this. It is about payment of tax by the supplier. So why it is relating to service? It is everything.
Okay, if in case of, for example, it says EA firm, the auditor also have some supplies or a supply of service. So in that case, the supplier will not pay that GST. In that case also, this condition will be
Because
applicable.
this condition is in all cases. It has nothing to do with goods or service.
Okay, okay, sir.
So students, that is all the condition for availing the ITC. Either beta, it doesn't matter whether your turnover is low or high. 3B is compulsory for everyone because 3B is the mechanism to pay the tax, and it is your main final return. So it is compulsory for everyone. Fine?
Sir, I want to ask you something.
Yes, beta.
तो जीएसटीआर 3B मतलब बायर खुद फिल कर सकता है, लेकिन जब जीएसटीआर 2A और 2B की बात हो रही थी तो वो सप्लायर के थ्रू फिल होना होता
Correct.
है, राइट? यस सर,
Correct.
थैंक यू।
So 2A and 2B are auto-populated returns. So you do not fill the details in 2A, 2B. Whatever supplier has filled in his GSTR1, through the supplier's GSTR1, the details automatically will come in your 2A, 2B. You do not fill it with. Fine?
Okay, sir, got it. Thank you.
Great. So that is all from my side, students. Now we have Shubhankar ji, our faculty from BOS. So he will be taking some pointers on this chapter. So over to you, Shubhankar ji. And thank you, students. Thank you very much. Keep studying. You can study the further part of this chapter and we can discuss in the next class. Thank you all. Yes,
Okay,
Shubhankar ji.
I would request the host to please enable the video. Hello. Thank you, Vishal sir, for conducting this session on the ITC. It is not only the important chapter, but I would say that it is the backbone of the entire GST. The first question, which is a compulsory question, main part comes from the chapter of ITC. And if you have any feedback to give about the class, that whether you felt good or not, you can say that by unmuting yourself. Anybody?
Yes, sir, I want to say something.
Yes, please, Manisha.
So actually, all the sessions, the previous sessions were taken by sir only, but the previous session, I think the value of supply was taken by another faculty. So, we get habitual to one teacher. When another teacher comes now, so it becomes very problematic for us. So it would be really better if only one faculty takes all the sessions, I mean the whole syllabus.
Okay, actually, the classes are designed in such a way that the faculties are being allocated some chapter, but still we will take your suggestion into our consideration and we'll try our level best because all the faculties have the different other commitments also. So we try to manage the things accordingly. But anyways, if you have suggested this, we will take into the consideration and we'll try to do it. Anybody else who has any query or any kind of the suggestion or feedback you want to give? Okay. So,
Sir, concepts are getting cleared, sir. And whenever we get doubt, we have an interaction also. So the concepts are getting cleared.
okay. So that is
Uh,
good.
we
Then
are
let's
happy about it, sir.
Then Lakshmi, that is fine. That is good, and I really appreciate that your concepts are cleared and the doubts are cleared accordingly in the same class.
There are, sir, few comments in the chat box also, but I think the chat box is not for everyone. Purav
Okay,
and
sir,
who
you
else
can
has given?
please take care
Surinder.
of.
You may put the chat to everyone or you may put it to Shubhankar sir. Purav and Surinder.
You can speak also, Purav.
Yeah.
You can speak also.
Purav and Surinder, they have put me something.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Even that I have already cleared my CS executive, but some of the concepts are missed, sir. So, sir,
Oh,
sir is clearing all the concepts. Even that pinpoint concepts are now more clear, sir. Thank you, sir.
actually, although you have cleared the CS executive, that is good to know that still you are taking the classes, but learning is the life going process.
Yes,
So
sir.
we are the qualified chartered accountants, and still we used to take the classes, and sometimes we also look after the things that we don't even know that we have missed in our academics and in our practice also. So learning is always important. So it
बिल्कुल
is
sir.
good to know that even if you have cleared the CS executive and still you are taking the classes. So all the very best for the CA also.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for
Sir,
sharing your feedback.
even I am practicing as a taxation and GST, sir.
Sir is in practice. I am a BOS faculty.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have a general query, sir. Like, uh, do we have any question bank types, sir, for all the subjects? Like subject wise also is okay, just for a practice question plus answer like that. Do we have it?
You have the model compilation of model test papers in which
Okay.
all the around 8 to 10 model test papers are there, questions also, answers also. So
Okay.
you have one stop solution for this. First you complete the entire syllabus and then you can solve the paper. You can solve those MTPs in the way that you are solving in the exam. You can assess yourself with the answer key also. First thing.
Okay.
Second thing is that when you will get the revisionary classes, in that after that revisionary classes, you will get the separate question bank of every separate chapter to be practiced for yours.
Okay. Hard copy will get, sir.
No.
Soft.
On the portal, on your student
On
ID
the,
portal, US portal.
okay. Suppose if you wanted to purchase it, sir, can we?
You can purchase the model test paper book from the CDS portal.
Serious portal.
Yes.
What is the recent model, sir? Can I know?
You will get to know on the website itself.
Okay.
Yes.
Like for the September batch, which is the model? I just wanted to know, sir.
You can ask this query on the query portal. You will get the
Okay.
answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But
I
you can
also
take
Good
the last
evening, sir.
module uploaded. That will be helpful. Don't worry. Don't worry for your specific attempt.
Yes.
The last one which is uploaded, you can purchase that, madam.
You can purchase and additionally you can refer the statutory update also.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So don't
Good
wait
evening,
for-
sir. Like,
Yes, please.
good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, like, faculty is explaining all the concepts very deeply, but they are not examining the practical insights of by taking questionnaire and all. Like, actually, there we have an issue, like how to solve questions
The
and
class.
all. Could you please mark
Vishal, sir, would you
this?
like to add something?
Yeah, I think if the student is talking about today's class, sir, it is just the first class. We are just in the
Yes.
No,
basic
no, it's
concepts.
not about today's class. Like, sir, like, actually, I've failed to clear from last few attempts, and I'm continuously attending classes. I'm not like, but still I'm failing to uh, attempt the questions in
But also,
accurate
my
manner.
very
Like,
humble advice is that see, as what some other student has asked and Subhankar sir had just explained, we have lot of material uploaded on the
Yes.
portal. And see, in every class, like if you remember, if you were there in my previous class, which was last, I think was time of supply, I was taking practical examples. But thereafter, you have to practice. We have some examples at the end of each chapter. Plus, we have special materials which are hosted. And as Shubhankar was saying, these things were also get when you join the revision classes. In that revision classes, we are specially taking only the practical part. But in the meantime, you have to practice it on yourself and see, everything is uploaded on the our portal. So right now also, whatever chapters are done, you can solve it. And in the next class, you can ask me doubts on any previous chapter, beta. There is no problem. It is not that if presently ITC is going on, you cannot ask me the doubt on any previous chapter. So better kindly take those materials from the portal and kindly practice it at your end, right?
Okay, one more thing I would like to add. If you are not able to clear, make sure that you have thoroughly covered all the question answers of the study material, RTPs, MTPs, and you have practiced the multiple model test papers before your exams. So it's a
okay,
in the classes you will get to learn the concepts. In the in the revisionary classes you will be able to know that how to solve the questions, and it would be completely the practical part where the questions will be discussed. But the main thing depends that how you practice at your home, how you assess yourself, how you practice multiple times, and how you revision yourself. So that is the thing which matters more. Okay.
okay, sir. Thank you so much.
If you have any query, you can ask the same to sir in the class.
It is very easy because he explains very nicely about every concept of GST, and I just feel like either I am not getting it, or the concepts are so easy that it gets cleared in one go only.
Yes, yes, yes. The way he teach and the way he explains is so much excellent, and it is so soothing that it actually becomes very easy to understand the concepts. So thanks for sharing the feedback, and thank you, Vishal sir, for giving such a value to the students that they are enjoying this indirect tax loss.
Excuse me, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, Manisha.
Yeah, I was saying that yes, sir teaches very well. So it would be really great if we take all the further sessions also. And one more problem we are facing, for example, in the live classes, we are able to ask the doubts when we are getting in the live classes. But after the classes are over and sessions are over, how can we connect with the teachers to ask doubts which we get when we are self-studying?
Sorry, can you please pardon?
I
He means
said
to
that, for
ask that when
example,
they are self-studying, if they get any doubts
Hmm.
later. So right now it is getting cleared in during the live class, but let us say
There,
after the
there
classes
is
are
a
over.
query portal.
okay, in
There
the
is a
viewers app.
Yes, yes, yes. There is a asking the query. You can share your feedback. You can ask the query. You can raise your doubt. You will get the answer.
Okay, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let me just read some point. Acha, Mr. Miss Humaira Rashid asked whether we can get the sample presentation in the class by the faculty so that we so that we can get a clear view on the presentation exam itself for the practice purpose. Miss Actually, for this query, I would like to say that before 2 months of your exam, there are two sections conducted, success for CA exams. Uh, so in that success for CA exam session, you will get the idea, you will get the PPT, you will get the idea also that how to present the exam and how to manage yourself in the exams. So there you can get the PPT also. So this is the answer.
Also, beta, just to add to Shubhankar sir, see in wherever topic we have practicals, in that practicals we are solving it in the class. So you get an idea about the format. Plus, wherever there are case study questions, we also discuss how to present the questions, like what to write first, what to write later. Like in this ITC chapter also, towards the end of this session, once the theory part is over, we will be dealing with both the practical part and the case study part. So you will get a brief picture of that also, Veda. So don't worry that you will get at the end of this chapter. Fine.
Yes. One more query raised that if we want to get our answers revalued by the BOS faculty, so it would be better. So this is the suggestion. Mr. Sridhar gave the suggestion. Although practically it becomes very difficult to do so, but still, for the practice purpose, if you want to know that where you are lacking, simply just solve the question independently. First, read the concept, understand the concept in the class, solve the question, and match with your answer, and check where the mistakes have gone. But still, you have given that suggestion. We will try that if it can be possible or not. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One more thing which I would like to announce that in the next chapter, in the next class, there is a Titan quiz, and about the chapter you will get informed in the Telegram group. So be prepared accordingly in the
सर
class of the Tuesday.
सर अगर एडमिन सर को कह के भी चैट फॉर एवरीवन सभी एवरी टाइम अगर ये ओपन कर दें तो ज़्यादा बढ़िया है, क्योंकि कुछ क्वेश्चंस कोई स्टूडेंट पूछता है तो एक दूसरे को समझ आ जाते हैं। तो चैट एवरीवन फॉर इन्होंने बंद की हुई है।
एक्चुअली उससे डिस्टरबेंस क्रिएट होता
ओके
है ना. सो दैट इज द रीजन. अब ऐसा होता है ना, व्हेन यू आर स्टडिंग समथिंग, व्हेन द फैकल्टी इज टीचिंग यू समथिंग, सो एट दैट टाइम वो हर किसी के विंडो पे फ्लैश होती है. सो फॉर दैट पर्पस वी हैव म्यूटेड दैट चैट. और एट द एंड ऑफ द सेशन अगर आपको कोई भी क्वेरी है, सो यू विल गेट टू नो दैट. और सर वैसे भी कोई भी क्वेरी होती है तो सर अपने आप डील कर लेते
नहीं
हैं.
सर, वो बात नहीं है. एक्चुअल क्या होता है, बच्चे 50 बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं, तो किसी के माइंड में अगर कोई क्वेश्चन आ गया तो उन्होंने पेस्ट कर दिया सर, वो वहीं पर ही सर दूसरों को भी समझ आ जाती है कि क्या क्या क्वेश्चन पूछा गया और उसका आंसर क्या दिया गया.
हाँ तो वो सर लेते तो है ना क्लास में.
हाँ हाँ, वो लेते हैं सर.
वो लेते हैं तो
इंडिविजुअल तो लेते हैं, इंडिविजुअल तो सभी लेते हैं फैकल्टी, वो उसमें कोई दो राय नहीं.
हाँ तो वो सबको पता चल जाता है ना.
जी जी जी.
तो
ठीक है.
इट इज नॉट फिजिबल कि अभी जैसे सबके पास चैट जाएगी, सो हर किसी को डिस्टरबेंस होगा. वो इट क्रिएट द क्योस इन द क्लास समटाइम्स. इट इज इन माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन.
ठीक है.
Surinder, I will answer you better. See, what Shubhankar sir is saying. We actually have faced lot of problem in that. तो एक तो क्या हो जाता है, आपका फ्लो डिस्टर्ब होता है, क्योंकि जैसे अभी मैं एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ और आपने 4 क्वेश्चंस देखे फ्लैश हुए. क्या हो जाता है, काफी बार आपने मुझे भी देखा रहेगा, मैं कुछ क्वेश्चंस को तुरंत आंसर नहीं करता हूँ, मैं एक गैप के बाद आंसर करता हूँ जब वो सीक्वेंशियली फ्लो में आ रहा है. पर अगर आपके भी स्क्रीन पे वो फ्लैश हो रहा है, आप क्या कर रहे हो, आप मेरा लेक्चर सुनते सुनते बीच में आप वो क्वेश्चन भी पढ़ रहे हो, तो एक आपका लिंक ब्रेक हो रहा है मेरे इससे, क्योंकि आपका कहीं पे ध्यान डाइवर्ट हो रहा है, क्योंकि आपके स्क्रीन पे वो क्वेश्चन फ्लैश हो रहा है. प्लस कितनी बार क्या होता है, दूसरे का क्वेश्चन पढ़ के हमें कंफ्यूजन आने लगता है जो नहीं होता है. सो इसीलिए जस्ट टू अवॉइड कंफ्यूजन ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, वी हैव टेकन अ कॉल दैट वी विल कीप इट म्यूट. वैसे भी आई थिंक जैसे मैं करता हूँ, बाकी फैकल्टीज भी वही करते रहेंगे. आई फर्स्ट रीड द क्वेश्चन, मैं तो नाम के साथ क्वेश्चन पढ़ता हूँ, यानी स्टूडेंट को भी पता चले कि मैं उसका क्वेश्चन ले रहा हूँ और बाकी सबको भी पता चलता है, और मैं उसका क्वेश्चन पढ़ के फिर मैं उसका आंसर देता हूँ. आई थिंक
जी
ऑल फैकल्टीज आर डूइंग इन द सेम फैशन. तो आपको क्वेश्चन पता चल रहा है, तो ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है कि सिर्फ आप हम कुछ बोल रहे हैं और आपको क्वेश्चन नहीं पता चल रहा है, राइट. सिर्फ हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम उसको थोड़ा इस तरीके से फेज आउट करते हैं कि आप लोगों को वो क्वेश्चन का आंसर और वो क्वेश्चन दोनों समझे. पर अगर ये आपके लिए अवेलेबल रहेगा कि वो क्वेश्चन के साथ फ्लैश हो, तो आई थिंक आपको भी वो रियलाइज होगा कि वो आपको ज्यादा डिस्टर्बेंस क्रिएट करता है, क्योंकि आपको बार बार ध्यान डाइवर्ट होता है. करेक्ट सुरेंद्र?
जी जी. थैंक यू सर.
Yes, beta. So it is for that reason that we do not allow it.
थैंक यू सर.
Yes, students, if you have any further queries, you may please. I have something, sir. I am having problem in costing subject. I've gone through lectures and I just want to thank you that it has become easier. Oh, thank you, beta. Thank you for your comment. Umaira Rashid, thank you. So, see, at BOS, we all endeavor to give our best, and all faculties are expertise in the subjects, in the chapters that they are allotted. Yes, you may find comfort with one, less comfort with others, but I will request that you go through all the lectures. Definitely your doubts either in one or other lecture will get clear. So I'm happy that your doubts in costing were also cleared by my lecture. Thank you.
Okay. Another again, I am announcing that in the next class you have the Titan quiz. You will get the chapters in the Telegram group. Be prepared for that. It would be not only the learning, but it would be learning with fun. Okay. I think with this, sir, can we wrap up? Can we leave this?
Yes, sir. Or from my side.
You will get to know
Shubhankar.
you will get to know in the Telegram group. Okay, thank you.
Sir, they are asking what is the topic of the quiz?
Sir, they will get in the Telegram group.
Acha, everything will be given in the Telegram.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Shubhankar ji. Thank you, Sanket ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.